Does it matter if you say range or tier first? No, it doesn't. You could say 3 range west, 3 tier north, or 3 tier north, 3 range west. I've seen title companies do different. It identifies that particular township. All right? So, Debbie, if I said, I need you to pick me up for class tomorrow, and I live in 3 range west, 3 tier north, could you find me? Now, I know I'm big, but please say no. Because it's 36 square miles. So what I want to do on the board is I want to blow up a picture of just that range, or just that township. So there is, everybody see what I'm doing? I'm zooming in and looking at just the township, 3 range west, 3 tier north. It's 6 miles by 6 miles. I live in that township. You said you couldn't pick me up, couldn't find me. So let's make it a little easier on you. So we're going to take each range, misspoke, each township, and break it out into, hope I can do this right, 36 sections. Each township is going to be divided into 36 sections is the word. All right? Why 36? Because it's 36 square miles. So how big is each section? 1 square mile. All right? We're going to number these sections so we can keep track of them. We're going to number them starting like this. Number 1 section is in the upper right-hand corner. Why the upper right-hand corner? Why are we starting in the upper right-hand corner? That's not how English people read. Some cultures may read that way. We don't. But we're starting in the upper right-hand corner. There's a logical reason, if you think about it for a minute. Because they were walking, and where did we start this whole process? In the upper right-hand corner. Isn't that where we landed in the United States? In the upper right-hand corner. Remember, they are starting on the East Coast and going west. It would make no sense for you to walk all the way to the west and then start back east and numbering them. So they figured, hey, let's start here. We're already here. So they start in the upper right-hand corner, number 1, and they start counting them. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The word for the day, and if you guys are really cool, you could slide this word in a conversation later. The word for the day is boustrophodonic. Boustrophodonic. What does boustrophodonic mean? No idea. It means like an ox plow. How do oxes plow a field? Do you walk to the end, pick up your stuff, walk back to the beginning, set it down, and start again? Another definition would be serpentine. That's how they did it. They're on feet. They're on their feet. So they start 1 in the upper right-hand corner, because that's where we started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they said, hey, let's turn around and go back. But why walk back and start again? Let's just turn around and go back from here. So 6, and then right below it's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They turned around, went back, turned around, 25. And hopefully, if I did my math right, the last section is called section 36. So you can see how they're numbered. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, turn around and then go back right to left, 7 through 12. Then turn around, come back left, right to left, then left to right, then right to left. Boustrophodonic, like an ox plow, or serpentine. So what you have are 36 sections in every township. So go back to the first drawing. Notice every township now has 36 sections in it. You can start to see how this becomes very hard to draw on a board, because every one of these has 36 sections in it. All right? So a section's 1 mile by 1 mile. All right, got to pick me up. Can it fit in there? Can you find me in 1 mile? No. So we got to do this again. First of all, you need to remember, and here is something you will memorize. Section 16 is the schoolhouse section. The school is in section 16. Now remember, this isn't today where we have Southport High School and Perry Meridian in the same. This is like Laura Ingalls and Little House on the Prairie, where they had one school in the district, and all the kids walked to the school. So why section 16? Now my picture is not very to scale, but if it was to scale, you would see that the lower corner of section 16 is what? About dead center of the township. So at no time would any kid have more than 3 miles to walk to work or school. Hence the old joke, I walk 3 miles to school. That's where it comes from. And watch this. If they lived in another township, they went to another school. We copied that in our political system. You live in Warren Township, you go to the Warren High School. You live in Franklin Township, you go to the Franklin High School. That's the concept. This concept has worked so well, every city in the United States has adopted it. Most cities. Most of the western cities, right? And normally I forgot to go over this, so we can take just a short break and go over it. You guys understand how housing numbers come about, right? How does Jimmy John's get to your house in under 5 minutes? Freaky fast? Because of the government rectangular survey system. Watch the zero line in Indianapolis if you're going north and south. Washington Street is the zero line. Anything north of Washington is north. Anything south is south. All right, that's okay except on the west side. I don't want to get confusing. It actually becomes Rockville Road. All right. What about the east and west zero line, which runs north and south? Meridian. Anything is this way is east, anything that way is west. So when someone says, I live at 402 North Pennsylvania Street, 4 tells you 4 blocks north of the zero line, which would be Washington, on Pennsylvania. All right? Every housing addition works the same way. Take your address. I don't care what your address is. Lived at 432. This is 432 South Emerson. 4.32 miles, or 0.432 miles from the zero line, which is Main Street. Just a little under half a mile from Main Street. That's how your addresses work. If you live at say 1200 North Meridian, that's 1.2 miles north of Meridian. And here's the other cool thing, just so you guys will sleep better tonight. If you're facing north, which is that way, even numbers are on your left hand, odd numbers are on your right. All right? So 402 would be on the left-hand side of the road. 403 is on the right-hand side of the road. Same thing with facing east. Even numbers are on the north-hand side of the road. Odd numbers are on the south side of the road. So if someone said I lived at 414 east something, well, it's even. It's on the north side of the road. So when you go to meet your client, you go out 4 blocks, and you're going to be looking on the north side of the road. EMTs, police, Jimmy John's, Pizza Hut. This whole concept is based on the rectangular survey system. If you're a country folk, works the same way. 100 north is 1 mile north of the meridian line. 375, 3.75 miles. All the country roads work the same way. You just got to know where the zero is for that particular, right? So if someone says, I live at 100 north and 450 west, go 1 mile north, 4.5 miles west, that's their house. All right? This is all based on this whole concept. This literally works, and it works very well. That's where this housing comes from. All right, now let's go back. So section 16 is the school section. That is a memorization thing, all right? There'll be a question, which section is the school section? You got to know that. But let's say I live in section 26 of 3 ranges west, 3 tiers north of principal meridian number 2. That is 1 mile by 1 mile. Jesse, can you pick me up tomorrow? Say no, please. Thank you. So let's draw an inflated picture of section 26. All we've done now is zoom in a little further. Once again, every one of these would be the same. All right? How big is section 26? 1 square mile. Or 640 acres. You better write that down. 640 acres. For those of you at home, write that down. 1 square mile, or a section, is 640 square acres. So now we got to divide this 640 acres up so that I can give Jesse a better address. So we're going to divide it into 4. They're called quadrants. Quadrants. How big is each one of these 4 quadrants? I'll help you out with the math. 640 divided by 4 is 160 acres. Now we need to label these so we can identify them. What would be a good label? What should we call the quadrant in the northeast? How about the northeast quadrant? Pretty sneaky how they do that. So you've got the northeast quadrant, the northwest quadrant, the southwest, and the southeast quadrant that are 160 acres big each. Maggie, can you find me now? Say no. No. So what we're going to do is take each one of those quadrants and break it up again. So taking the northeast quadrant, I divide it into 4. How big are those quadrants?
40.
Thank you. 160 divided by 4 is 40. Have you guys ever heard that the farmer's got to go plow the back 40? Yes. Ta-da. Remember reparations for slavery? What was it going to be? And 40 acres. It is a legal description of real estate. It's a natural breakdown of the section. It's 40 acres. Used for us really old people. Oh shit, I think that's me. Used to be a country song called Give Me 40 Acres and I'll Turn This Rig Around. Nobody? Okay, doesn't matter. All right. So 40 acres. Now, we got to identify these 4 quadrants. So what should we call the quadrant in the northeast? It's the northeast quadrant, right? But it's of which other quadrant? Northeast. So it's the northeast quadrant of the northeast quadrant. Right? Because theoretically, down here in the southwest, if I divided it into 4 quadrants, I also have a northeast quadrant of the southwest quadrant. And there's a northwest quadrant of the northwest and the northeast quadrant of the southeast. Everybody see that? 40 acres. Still too damn big. Let's do it one more time. So we're going to take each one of those 40-acre quadrants and divide it into 4, which leaves how many? How many acres in that? 40 acres divided by 4. High math. 10. 10 is the smallest acres you can buy that's unplatted without developing it, by the way. And that's because it's the smallest unit of land we can define. But that 10 acres is where I live. So I live right here. How do we identify that quadrant? It's called the northeast, isn't it? So now Jesse can come pick me up because I'm going to tell Jesse, hey, Jesse, I live at the northeast quadrant of the northeast quadrant of the northeast quadrant of section 26, 3 ranges west, 3 tiers north of principal meridian number 2. Bingo. There is no other land in the United States that you could ever end up in because it's the only address there is. If I lived here, that would be the southeast quadrant of the northeast quadrant. So he wouldn't go to mine because that's a whole different place. There is only one address for every piece of real estate in the United States, which makes it what? What's the word I'm looking for? Unique, non-homogeneity. And I told you that I would prove it to you. I just did. No 2 pieces of real estate can ever have the same address. It is physically impossible.